5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yeah, the champions, yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremiah Bannister. Today is Friday, October 16th, and I want to thank every single person who's tuned in right now, all across the internet, all over the place, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, whether it's Twitter, even DLive. I guess we've got a Twitch now. I didn't know that. Brand new thing to me. We've got a bunch of great stories for you today. In fact, today is kind of going to be a little bit rapid fire. We are going to try to get through as much news as humanly possible. And so we want to make sure that we don't waste a whole bunch of time just kind of schmoozing. Although I do hope, and I will say this before we even begin. Let's get this banner up. Make sure, a couple reminders. Number one, no matter where you are, if you're watching this right now and you are on Facebook or you're on YouTube or you're on Twitter, doesn't matter. If you comment, I will see that. Okay, I have the all-seeing eye here at Castle Paleocrat. So if you comment, I get it. And we'll try to get those comments on the show. I'm still trying to figure out how to get phone calls because I would love that. I've done phone calls with AM/FM radio, TV. So this is kind of weird to not have phone calls. And I really enjoy that. Not just for the interview sake, but also for the, just the listener and engaging with all the people because I really, really, really enjoy that. Of course, reminder to go save and share the daylights out of the meme that Allie made. She made a meme. It's Wretchin Gretchen. And it's a hilarious meme, by the way. You should actually tag Gretchen Whitmer. I'm sure she'll love it. She'll probably share it with everybody on her staff. And there's a lot. The Empress has a lot. And so you got to make sure. Go to paleocratdiaries.com. We posted it just yesterday, the original meme. And Angela said she's going to try to get a really good quality one, the highest quality. Because I guess that one right there, even the one we shared that I thought was the highest quality, was not. But it's still great. It's beautiful. The colors, everything. It's amazing. And cute little bow on Wretchin Gretchen's head. But you got to share it. And make sure you can put it as the wallpaper on your phone. It'd be a whole bunch of fun. So got to do that. And, of course, reminder that to make it through this next 2 hours, you may need a significant amount of coffee. Or maybe I am your coffee in the morning. You wake up to a fresh, hot cup of Paleocrat. That's just what it is. People are like, you're not drinking coffee. You're like, no, dude, this guy's like Red Bull times 1,000. So, Helen is sending some good vibes over on YouTube. Very grateful for that, Helen. I'm going to need some good vibes. Because it's not just going to be funny stories. We've got those. We're going to begin with the funny, okay? To the dome. I was actually going to be... the original plan for this was that it was going to be this... It was called Frazzle Dazzle Friday, and I thought that sounded cool. I found out that's maybe not a phrase you want to use. I didn't know that. I thought it was a good play on Razzle Dazzle, and I'm like, well, okay. And so the idea, though, was that we were going to mix it all up. And it was going to be that I didn't know what was coming at all. It might be a funny story. It might be a sad story. It might be a serious, hardcore story. And nobody would know. It's kind of like a Russian roulette, right? And they decided against that, just like they decided against the name. And so we're sticking with that. But we do have some serious parenting tips today. There's a couple stories. I may get through a couple. And one of them, I got to throw myself under the bus on that. That's part of parenting, isn't it? You got to throw yourself under the bus. Sometimes you make a mistake. And you got to figure out, what do you do in a situation when you make a mistake and you break the heart of your son or your daughter? What do you do? We're going to talk about that because it happened, guys. It happened. So again, make sure, post all those comments. We'll try to get through those the best we can. All right, let's get to the news right away. I've been kind of slacking. I've been kind of slacking on this, guys. I talked about the animal insurrection. I think I am probably the #1 show right now online talking about the great animal uprising of 2020. And, by far the best. Not the only one. I'm sure that there's more. I'm sure that there's a bunch more. But the thing is, we have put special attention and focus on this. And so we're trying to figure out not just where it's happening and where the animals are uprising and everything else, and the kind of weird tactics like we saw yesterday, the spy pigeon, right? At the Spy Museum, taking pictures with that fancy camera and taking pictures so that they can get a good idea for what's worked throughout history for us. And maybe some of the tricks up our sleeve, like the rectal toolkit that we talked about yesterday. Oh, man. That's going to go down forever, by the way. That's going to go down forever in the history of the show as like, what was that? One of those things, man. But I kind of backed off, because I don't want to be on the animals' radar too strongly, right? This is an underground movement. So we're keeping it under the radar, right? And so, but at the same time, I can't go too far under the radar, and I can't go too far underground because there's moles, you know what I'm saying? And so no matter where we go, we've got ourselves a lot of problems. But I wanted to talk just for a second to talk about these weird animal laws. And I know that pawculture.com, it's probably some kind of spook outfit, that they're in on the whole thing with the animals, because they're making fun of the laws that we've put in place to protect ourselves, in fact, from this uprising. I think that if you look at hieroglyphs and you look at paintings on walls, I know that Goatman took that as the wall paintings of like half animal, half person. He took that as like a human desire to become an animal, and he dressed up in prosthetics trying to look like a goat. Of course, looked nothing like that. He looked like Cartman when he tried getting into the Special Olympics. But, the thing is that, if you look back long enough, I think that we get warnings, even all the way back to cave paintings and stuff. And so to see stuff like this is really worrisome. We might want to reach out actually to Paw Culture. I don't know if they've got a Twitter. If they do, we have to tweet out at them stat. Okay, actually, hold on a second. And I've got something here. Let's see if we can. Let's see if you guys can hear this. This is right before we move on. We got to do this. Can you hear that? Hey, Ailey. Yeah, my phone was super quiet, and so I needed something that was a little bit louder. And so we got the iPad, and I'm like, dude, this will work, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need to find out a little bit more about pawculture.com. Find out if they've got a Twitter account and maybe an email. We need to blast them with emails. I'm really suspicious that these people might be in on the animal uprising. They might be traitors. Okay. Listen to how that works, man. Listen to how that works. All right. So, okay, the weirdest animal laws in America. Say what? Say you. I want to hear what you've got to say about this. Are these crazy or not? Okay? Let's see here. In the state of Oregon. By the way, do you guys say Oregon? If you do, please don't do that. don't say Oregon. People are like, hey, man, what do you listen to? What are you getting your information from? Paleocrat Diaries. And they're like, whatever. You say Oregon wrong. It's like Oregon with a little bit of in there. Nowadays, a lot of in Oregon. It's annoying just about everywhere, but in Multnomah County, Oregon, it's actually against the law for your dog to bark and bark and bark. And see, this is the thing, man. Here's what the law says. It's unlawful for any person to permit any animal to cause annoyance, alarm, or noise disturbance to any person or neighborhood by barking, whining, screeching, howling, braying, or other like sound. Dude, they are definitely in on the uprising. This is how they communicate. This is how they communicate their orders. And they're not just limiting it to dogs, man. We're talking screeching, howling, braying. This is all sorts of stuff, dude. And they're like, yeah, they're making fun. By the way, Oregon, it might be an old law, and it's limited to Multnomah County. Big bravo to them. They get the Paleocrat Diaries Blue Ribbon Award for excellence in the fight against the animal uprising. You guys get that? Multnomah County, Oregon. A big bravo to them. We got to send out tweets to Multnomah and thank them for this, by the way. And thank them for the law. Tell them that paw culture is wrong, and all of those lobbying on behalf of the animals and paw culture, they're wrong. Because these sounds, which may be heard beyond the boundary of the owner or keeper's property, under conditions wherein the animal sounds are shown to have occurred, either as an episode of continuous noise lasting for a minimum period of 10 minutes. Yeah, they're good, dude, because that's obvious. It's like, you remember the show Lost? Remember that? Remember the message that was going out over and over on repeat in French? That's what this is. So when you guys hear dogs barking for a long time, it might not be separation anxiety disorder. It might be this. Oh, in Kentucky, dogs may not molest cars. Why would they make fun of this? This is a serious thing. It starts out reasonable enough. Okay, so do you see the plot? It's like, oh, well, it's reasonable. It sounds reasonable to not let dogs molest cars, but they want to make us really degenerate. And what's up with my lighting? I'm like blue. What's up with that? Oh man. No animal owner shall permit any animal-related nuisance. Okay, so see, they're attacking something with any animal-related nuisance in it. These people want chaos or condition to exist at any time where it involves animals in his or her temporary permanent care, custody, control, maintenance, or possession. So they're saying that that's the reasonable part, obviously. But what is an animal-related nuisance? The ordinance of the city of Fort Thomas lists a lot of stuff you'd expect, including chasing people. So see, look, they're saying that the law is pretty good. You can't have, your dog or your emu chasing people, asking for packs of smokes. You can't, for directions to the party with the crab. You can't do it. Damaging property. So no looting, no rioting. Gotcha. Good. I mean, they're on the ball. Excessive noise, odor. But the first item on the ordinance list, the first one, sorry about that, is, quote, the molesting of pedestrians or passing vehicles. What's wrong about that? What is wrong about that? That's saying little Fido can't go up to, Edith and Esther, on their little rascal going down and just start, doing the thing on it. And passing vehicles. Have you guys ever seen an animal like run up to a passing vehicle and molest it? It's a terrible sight. It's a terrible thing. Cats are not allowed in public cemeteries. See, again, this is bad, guys. Paw culture is definitely... They're a provocateur. This is shadow net stuff, man. They're paid on the down low by the deep state. Cats are not allowed in public cemeteries. This is in the state of Wisconsin. An image of a black cat sneaking around a dusky cemetery is a Halloween staple. But in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, that cat and all other cats, plus dogs, would be breaking the law. You don't know what they're doing there. Summoning ghosts, some kind of witchcraft. Are they exhuming bodies? What's going on? I mean, would this be classified as pet cemetery kind of stuff? Per the city's code, and I know that's the worst dad joke. Okay. Per the city's code of ordinances, an exception is made for trained service and assistance dogs because they are under the strict command of the owner. And most of the time, I give the benefit of the doubt to people or veterans with various disabilities or people who can't walk. They're pretty good people. It's like midgets, basically. Little people don't hurt anybody. I don't know if you guys ever learned that lesson. Under the Big Top, it's a Newsboys movie. Trust me, the best scene of the whole movie. But for those who transgress, the punishment's unknown. Also unknown, how to tell the said cat to stay out of the cemetery. They'll listen. They will listen. You can make sure of that. Okay? Sometimes if it gets to that point and it's a creepy cat coming into a cemetery, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. It looks like a spy. Oh, no. Oh, man. I'm going to get in trouble. It is illegal to keep a smelly dog. Isn't that true everywhere? Oh, it's just in Illinois. Okay, that's weird. And again, if you're a listener to the show, do not say Illinois. Just don't do it, guys. Do not say Illinois. Oh, that drives me nuts. It drives me nuts almost as much as people saying Warsh, but that's kind of also like, a regional thing. I don't want to bust on people too badly about that. Although it does, I'm sorry, there's no R in there. You should consider not saying that. Then again, they could look at us and say there's no A in the word money, or I'm sorry, dollar. And yet we say dollar or God. Midwestern weirdos. Oh, we're so hypocritical. But okay, in Galesburg, Illinois, doesn't have much of a choice. If a dog, you don't want to give your dog a bath, well, you might get in trouble. City ordinance, no person shall keep or maintain any animal, poultry, or fowl. Oh, okay, look at that. In such a manner to cause inconvenience or disturbance to other persons by reason of noise, odor, or other cause. So, I mean, if you go over to somebody's house and the person's like, that dog is a little stank. And it's like that, man. They could they sue you? You might not be under arrest if your puppy stinks. Okay. We rarely, if ever, enforce this ordinance. Oh, police chief. You got to get strict on that, man. Law and order, buddy. Law and order. Oh. It's illegal to photograph rabbits between the months of January and April. Dude, now keep an eye on rabbits, guys. This is, especially if you're in Wyoming. If you're a listener in Wyoming, keep an eye on the rabbits because the higher-ups there, the deep state, the ones making the uniparty, making these terrible laws, they know what's going on, and they're making it difficult. So something between the months of January and April, we're coming up on this right now. We're coming up on it right now. Not too far, only a couple months out. We don't have long to prepare, but we've got to rally, guys. It's a 1921 rule. It shall be unlawful for any person or persons to photograph any of the game animals or birds of this state. Oh, so it's not just rabbits, man. It's not just rabbits. Oh, they go into great detail. Okay, so it was scrapped. See, look at the kind of weird deflection and weird trickery going on over at Paw Culture. They get you invested in a specific story. I was telling everybody to, get battle ready for January. And they're like, oh, no, they scrapped this one. So if you see a rabbit in Wyoming today, snap away. Do it, man. So this is an indication that the mission for the rabbits is over. So they're now distracting us and telling us, look, you've got to focus on them buggers. And all you're going to do is just see crazy mating patterns and be like, I don't need to see this, man. I don't need to watch that. In Alaska, animals cannot enter beauty salons for the purpose of hairdressing. What the places? Oh my gosh. Okay, they're barred from getting a haircut in a human salon. That's a good one. Again, they're keeping that dividing line. Black cats must wear bells on Friday the 13th. Guys, look at this. Indiana, this is appropriate too. It's October. The citizens of French Lick Springs were so stricken with, what is that? Triskaidekaphobia? Is that how you pronounce that? Triskaidekaphobia? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty quick. That's a crazy looking word. That's almost like that really long name that hardly anybody wants to pronounce of a foreign country. It's like a city, right? And I've only seen it one time where there was a guy on the news, meteorologist, and he was going through describing the week and everything, and he just blah, 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 blah. It's this long name. I mean, I forget how many syllables. It's ridiculous, though, and it looks really dumb on paper. I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah, passed the law in 1939, so this goes a long ways back. Again, back in the days of hieroglyphics and cave paintings. 1939. My kids say there were dinosaurs back then. All black cats in this municipality will wear bells on Friday the 13th. By municipal decree as a war measure. Dude, they are on it. Man, yes. Where is this again? Where is this? French Lick. And it has to have a name like French Lick Springs. What a... our allies need to have better names of their cities. Who are your allies? French Lick Springs? People are like, okay. I guess they're on their side. It's enforced on all Faithful Fridays since, except last year when a number of minor mishaps occurred. There's no word what happened that year, but in the decades since, it appears as if the cats have won. This law is no longer on the books. No! That's what laws and stuff like this are for, man. That's what tradition's about, is we look at the wisdom of the past and we say, look, this is something that they experienced. And we go, we don't know what the mishap was, but we got rid of the law. And you're like, dude, maybe it was a good idea to have bells on the feet of those cats. Maybe. It's illegal to sell a dog or a cat's excessive hair in Delaware? I don't know about that. Well, what is that? A person is guilty of the unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts in the second degree. Oh, they even have a degree of that. Oh, in Delaware. Okay, Biden country. If the person knowingly or recklessly sells, barters, or offers for sale or barter the fur or hair of a domestic dog or cat. I can almost imagine a little bit of what's up with that. I mean, what would be the reason for that, guys? On the spy scale of like 1 to 100. Where would you rack that one up? Where would you rack that one up, man? I just don't know about that. Goldfish may not be given away to entice someone to enter a game of bingo. This one actually has to do more with trying to stop what is it, man? Dogfights. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No person in Athens, Clark County shall give away any live animal, fish, reptile, bird as a prize. Well, that again, man. Look, I can imagine. So they're saying like you can't give a little goldfish away, if you're playing at a carnival or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I'm divided over that, guys. What do you think? In the comment section. Got a lot of good mornings. Tim Gingrich. Sounds like it would be from The Onion. Dude, doesn't it? Doesn't it kind of sound like it would be from The Onion? By the way, it's good to see you, Tim. Glad that you are in the comments. Cherie, superstitious much? I don't know if you're talking to me, Cherie. I don't know if you're talking to me about the bells. Hey, man, look, it's limited to certain cats. Although that might be a little bit racist because they were the black ones. So they're like, black cats, what? Black cats matter. We gotta put the little black paw, man. You gotta do it. I don't mean to dog any legitimate claims of criminal justice reform and stuff. I'm about that. At the same time, we might need to add the black furry fist, the black the black purry one. We'll have the black purry paw up there. Let's see here. We tried a belled collar for a cat, and it did not go well. Yes, in the comments. Yes, we that can go, different directions. It can also be pretty creepy, I assume. Pretty creepy. I've been assured, no, I'm not the one being accused of superstition. That's good. I'm glad, hey, I'm glad you're on my side. I'm glad you're on my side, Cherie. And I'm being honest about that. You're a person I would really hate to have on the other side. Not wanting to be against Cherie. Believe me. CF, yes, good morning to you. Good morning. It's always a good morning here at Paleocrat Diaries. Chubby dog put on a strict diet after getting hilariously wedged in doggy door. I feel for that little bugger, though. I mean, he looks like he's on our side. You know what I mean? He looks like he's on our side. Do they have a video of this thing? Oh, man. And look how happy he is. He's just going about his day. He's just doing his thing. Yeah. Shirley says, holy crap, it's like the law I've seen somewhere that the wife could not cut her hair without her husband's approval. I don't know. That might be a law we should get back to, there's Shirley. I've seen some bad women haircuts. Oh, no, I'm not really proposing that. I don't want to have all the ladies, man, taking out the daggers, coming after me, being like, dude, we liked you. Be like, hey, man, but I've seen some really bad haircuts. I've seen some really bad ones. Ladies, they're like, I'm going to go get my hair cut. And you're like, oh, I kind of wish you wouldn't do that. Plus, to be honest, I've got a bias. Not going to lie. I like that long hair. I do. It has to be like, super, super long and thick. You know what I'm saying? If your hair is too thin and you have really, really, really long hair, I don't really know about that. But nothing super short. I'm not a fan of like the dude style cuts. I'm just not into that. I know some people will be like, dude, you're a little bit of a jerk, man. And I'm like, no, I'm surrounded by beauty. That's what it is. I'm surrounded by beauty. I enjoy seeing attractive things in the world. God made the world, and God made men, and God made women. There's no shame in that. And it's nice to see, just to even revisit the small little fragments of an otherwise sane civilization that is now on fire and burning, to be able to look out and tell, just in a snap instant, to be able to tell, yeah, that's a chick. That's a beautiful chick. She's doing good. And, even if she's a little bit hit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and same with the dude. I don't want to, it's not against women. Women like the show. We love the women. Okay. We support the ladies. But if you sit there and you say, man, even if the person is a little bit hit in the face, you know what I'm saying? That, beat with an ugly stick, fell down the ugly tree, hit every branch on the way down. Other than that, they are doing an excellent job of presenting themselves. And I think I think it's a good thing. And I know it sounds a little bit like I'm kidding. And I know I know my cheeks are jiggling with laughter and things like that. But the truth is, I really believe that. I think that it's good. In fact, I was just talking yesterday about this, about how, people have changed so much and how civilization has changed so much. And sometimes little changes make a big deal. Ask the Freemasons, right? Ask the Freemasons with the Alta Vendita, the people who said, well, we can't come after the church head on. So we're going to kind of do a roundabout, and we're going to go after the ladies, and specifically to do with attire. Because back then, you would have ladies out, working super hard, very strong, very beautiful, gorgeous women, intelligent, powerful women of the past, godly women, and they would be dressed as a woman. You could tell just even seeing them on the street. Quick judgment, blam, and you would be able to tell. And I know people nowadays, they're like, look, I don't know how I could make it through the day without my leggings. You know what I mean? Showing all the curves and everything, and the lines in my rear end, like, the gap between my thighs. Those ladies, number one, didn't have to do that. They also had a pretty good idea of what the sin of scandal is. But they were feminine. And it's weird to even just think. I bet most people don't even know and don't even think about the idea that it wasn't just that, well, yeah, I guess back then, women weren't wearing pants. It wasn't even until, 20th century? On TV? I mean, come on. And who was it? Was it Mary Tyler Moore? Wasn't it the Dick Van Dyke Show? If it was, that was also the same show that was the first one to have a husband and wife sleeping on the same bed together, if I remember correctly. But people don't go back and think like, why didn't they do that? Or what was the idea behind people who intentionally wanted to target attire? Like what ideas would be going into that? I don't want to spend too long on that, but it's a serious topic. It's a serious topic. And we look and we say, we take certain things for granted now. And I know people can say, well, it doesn't really matter what you wear. Well, that's what the Freemasons thought. That's what the Antichrist Freemasons thought. And it's what they predicted. And they said, if we go ahead and do this and we just simply tinker with the way, and somebody mentioned even the idea of cribs and introducing cribs and what cribs do by separating family sleep, close sleep, and how that over the long term puts a separation. And time after time after time, it's that the enemies of righteousness, they go after the ladies. That's why I'm glad we got really, really strong, powerful, godly women watching this show, because they know about this stuff and they know about the animal uprising. Okay, a little bit off it. Yeah, gold to grunge to gold. Kurt Cobain's. You see, I saw this, man. $6 million for this guitar, by the way. If you had, let's say you had gobs of money, right? You're one of those people that can, fart out gold coins on demand. And there's ching, 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 a bunch of gold coins. If you could do that, would you buy that for $6 million? Not gonna lie, I love that guitar. In fact, that may be it's probably my all-time favorite acoustic guitar that I'd ever seen on, TV during a concert. And I like the ones too, man. I don't know the technical name for them. Somebody in the comment section could probably tell me, where it's got the metal in the background. Or not in the background. It's got the metal behind the strings. It's like a steel guitar, right? Yeah. I like those. Some really pretty ones. Actually, man, it was a song. I wish I had it up right now. It was a song that I heard not long ago. Just real, kind of that deep south feel to it. Like swamp blues. He's got that slide. Just awesome. Most people don't know about how to use a slide either. You got to be right over that fret area where the metal is. You can't have it just right in the middle of the fret where your finger is. Otherwise, you don't get the sound. It's just, harmonics and stuff here. Rescue Ranch adopts sheep spotted roaming the streets. Look at this guy. You can tell in his eyes that he's like, I've been had, guys. I've been had. I was roaming the streets. I was doing my thing, and all of a sudden these kids came up and thought I was lost. He's plotting how to escape now, but the lady on the outside, I think she might listen to Paleocrat Diaries. She's on the outside there, and she's looking in going, we got you. We got you. What's this one? Hold on. I need to set my I need to set the audio here so you guys can hear this. What just happened? I didn't even hold on a second. Record stream. Let's see if we can hear this now. Okay. What is this? Oh dang. Oh. Is she okay? Oh, yeah, she's right there with her fist up. Yeah, dude, your legs are broken. One more time, guys. You got to see this. Okay, so this chick, what is she even thinking? Who thought this was a great idea? Who thought this was good? Here we go, guys. Here we go. This is wake up morning time here at Paleocrat Diaries. Woo! Here we go. Let's see if we can get the part just where she hits the thing. And just okay, so there she is. She's flying. She realizes in this moment. See, this guy jumped really far. This lady, she didn't make it. She didn't make it. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Well, she didn't. Okay, you can tell here. She kind of like landed a little bit maybe on her knee. It looks worse when it's going really fast. Maybe that's actually the recoil. Like she hit that and bounced up. I don't know. But boy, that looks bad. Okay, one more time, guys. We gotta watch this. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to laugh at you, lady, but she seems like she's fine though. Here we go. Oh, you people are sick. You people are sickos for sending this to me. Oh my gosh, man. Tim says flat rolled probably made the fall much easier. Dude, is that possible, man? It was a lucky roll. Oh man. Oh my gosh, dude, this is great. Okay, in the comments, there's a whole bunch, so I got to get to it. Hold on a second here. This is crazy. By the way, thank you guys for for all these comments, man. It's pretty cool, like, to see more and more people engaging in the comments and stuff. Right there with you. Chick hair on chicks. Okay, look, and ladies, what do you think about that? Do you hate my guts for saying that? Do you hate my guts for saying that, it's nice to see ladies with ladylike haircuts and ladylike clothing? I mean, I personally, and I'm saying that out of a sense of beauty and dignity. I'm not saying that out of like, go make my sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make my own food. I don't even, I'm married and I'm not even like, yo, wife, get in there and cook my steak. I'm not even doing that. I cook my food. You know, I'm not sitting there telling, the ladies go and do this and that. But at the same time, just even for the sake of beauty and dignity, for the idea of, the separation of the sexes and stuff. We didn't get to this crazy place of babies out of nowhere, guys. I'm saying this about boys too, man. I mean, look, I like To Hell with the Devil by Stryper as much as any kid born in the 80s, into a Christian home and stuff. But the thing is, man, those guys straight up look like women. They were super duper girly. And oh, lo and behold, maybe snorting some cocaine. Like, okay. It's a heck of a drug, man. It's a heck of a drug. One lady in the comments, I try very hard not to show my curves. Long shirts are a great thing. I'm with you on that. I think, form, I'm okay with form. I'm okay with that. But I've got an aesthetic view that is even okay with statues, like the David statue, nude and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of putting the little leaves over the crotches. I like mythology, classical myth and stuff like that. Seeing those beautiful statues from the days when art was awesome. Yeah. Let's see here. It was Laura, his wife. Oh, talking about, yes, the bed sharing wasn't until later. Yes. Okay, yeah, Laura. Yeah, it's Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah, his wife. And the bed sharing happened later on Dick Van Dyke Show. But that show was pivotal. It completely changed everything. There's a great priest who has sermons against feminism. His YouTube channel is Wall of Brass. There's yeah. I don't know who that is exactly. So I can't endorse it, but it sounds, hey, I'm not a fan of feminism. Feminists don't like me. And it would be one thing, like, it's one of those things where, people can hear, kind of like Black Lives Matter. If you say, well, I don't like Black Lives Matter, people go, you don't like black people. And you're like, goodness gracious alive, what's wrong with you? Like, no, it's an organization. This is an ism. Okay. And it's one of those things, like, we have to have a different phrase, one that emphasizes femininity, because feminism, at this point, feminism is synonymous with a movement that prioritizes and centers dudes playing video game in the brain, dressing like chicks, with male pattern baldness and beards and junk. The kind of stuff that used to really be in a circus, like under the big top. And now it's like, oh no, it's in our women's group and in the women's bathroom. And it's, it's feminist to have, super Chad dudes, super ripped, buff guys competing in sports against, little Sally Sue. And that's just garbage. That's not even it is feminism. That's the thing. It is feminism. And so we have to get to the place where instead of saying, well, that's not feminism. No, that actually is. An ism means something. And we shouldn't fight over that ism. We should be clever. And we should come up with better terms. Are any of the strong women watching this show single? KMO, what, dude? You don't even follow me on Twitter, man. You better start following me, buddy. You're a good lurker, dude. You come in, you use what I say, and you share it with other people. Oh man, that's good. I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay with that. I could find so much more to do with that money than a guitar. Yeah, okay. Single ladies, I'm not happily married. I hope one does, though. Yeah. Okay. 2020 dive competition. Jared, you make my morning. Thank you very much. And so, I don't want to. We're gonna blend it in a little bit more, man. I'm really great for all of you, though. I'm really grateful for all of you, and I am great for all of you. Right? I try hard every day to do my best. Right? And this is not. I'm serious, man. It's actually, it's harder than people think. Try doing it sometime. Try try doing this. You guys know, you appreciate this. I'm up here, I'm sweating. I'm giving everything I've got. Breathing, focused, constantly. I'm like super focused, even when I'm distracted. It's a focused distraction. It's a focus. Oh man. Yeah, KMO says, I can appreciate a good sandwich or steak made by a woman. Dude, look, I'm not dogging that at all. Believe me. My wife makes better food. But she's also, we kind of have this thing because of our dietary differences. I do carnivore for now. I've done carnivore. I've done keto, which I really loved doing. I lost a bunch of weight before the lockdown. And I decided I just wanted to try this carnivore challenge. And I actually ended up liking it. I had my cheat day, ate some cake, right? And which I'd saved for like 2.5, 3 weeks. Ate that and went right back to it the next day, just right back to it. So, but yeah, dude, trust me. And if I'm ever at a place, man, Blimpies or something like that, and I'm there and you got some dude with a hairnet and you got some lady and one of the two can make the sandwich, it's almost always that the lady's better. They're better food artists like that. While wearing a dress with a nice feminine haircut. Yeah. Making the food while wearing a dress. Okay, guys, I got to say this, man. We're going to move on. I got to say this. I went and visited this friend of mine in Detroit. And we go and we're sitting there, we're talking to each other. I hope I didn't tell this story before, man. I tell a lot of stories and sometimes I forget. So let me know in the comment section. Give me full stop. But I go and I visit this buddy of mine and we go to Detroit and I'm driving through the town and he's like, let's get some food, because he lives in Ohio. He's a good friend of mine, lives in Ohio. So we met. He's one of the saving graces of the state of Ohio. I've got a couple friends that live there, so I can't say that everything there sucks, but it's just the vast majority of stuff. So, even he will drive to Detroit for some food. so, and that's saying something, by the way. So he gets to Detroit, and we're driving around, we're looking for something to eat, and this is back like, during the recession. I mean, the real bad one with Obama, and it was pretty hit. And the town was looking really, really bad. You could drive a long way without anything. I mean, all the houses boarded up, grass super high up in the, it was wild to see. It was depressing, man. It was heartbreaking, actually, to imagine that this used to be a really vibrant city. And those houses used to have families in them. So we're driving, and he's like, maybe we should just go to Cracker Barrel or something. I said, no, man. What? Dude, we're in Detroit. We gotta do something authentic, man. And we found the most authentic place in the world. I don't even know if that place is still around, man. I'd say that it was like maybe ravaged by rioters and looters with the Black Lives Matter stuff. But it's so far away, they'd have to walk a pretty decent way, with a lot of these houses and tall grass to get there. So I don't know. Maybe they made a kind of field trip. I don't know. But we go inside. And we get in there. There's one of the only places around. In fact, it is like the only one. It was liquor, smokes, gasoline, lottery tickets, and this place to eat. And it was a bar, but it was open early. It was you had food and stuff. So we go in, and I walk in, man, and there is a massive rebel flag. And there's a lady, and she's cooking the food. And she's wearing like super, super skimpy clothes. Like I'm talking a bikini top and some Daisy Dukes. and she came up getting our orders like 10 in the morning, man. She's getting our order and we're like, what? Where are we? And then she goes back. And I thought she might have been wearing some roller skates. I don't know. She might have been wearing some roller skates. And she goes back in her Dukes and in the bikini top. Chewing that gum, like this, what do you want for breakfast kind of thing. And I'm like, wow. She goes back to order some food, or she goes back to put the order in, and she's the one cooking. And it's super greasy spoon stuff, dude. It's splattering everywhere. And you can see her like, she's taking it like a woman. She was. She came back, man. I wasn't trying to look or nothing, but I kind of, scoped out that belly button area, and I saw, all these red spots, and I'm thinking, man, they better be paying you a lot of money. You should maybe consider getting a different job. This is not the place for you, believe me. Oh, there's a church up the road. You got to go there. You got to go to the church, lady. What's on the front of my hoodie? Barbara's asking. It is on the front. It's a bummer. I'm not going to turn around and show you. But on the front, it says Penfield. It's actually a football shirt supporting my cousin's football team back, and it had to be, 10 years ago now? Maybe longer than that. Might be 12 years ago. 13, something like that. He was in high school, a senior, and they were selling these shirts. And on the back, you could put your name on it, or his name on it, or whatever. And my wife has one. It says Bannister. Mine says Paleocrat. Oh, yeah. It's true. It's true. All right. We're moving on. We'll get back to those comments. There's just so many comments. This will be maybe the last one because we got a lot of serious news. And look, I'm gonna bust through this. In fact, I thought there was another video. Hold on a second. There was another video. Oh, we'll do this one, man, because this one is a watch. Bears steals pumpkin from New Jersey family's porch. I don't know exactly what this bear wants with the pumpkin. I can only imagine that it is not good. You know, maybe the party the crab's going to, now that they figured out it's not at the one lady's house, we've talked about that crab, that maybe now that they've figured out where they're going, it's actually a Halloween party. Wouldn't be surprised. That's when the terror will be unleashed. We're going to be on special guard. And I'm also going to be making sure that all the cats in our area, I might even have people go around just door to door handing, bells and stuff and say, look, you may want to put some bells on your pets right now. Just for tonight. It's that night. But we're going to see this.
A woman in Morris County surprised by a wild thief. Kelly Stevens spotted a bear outside her home.
A wild thief? Did you hear that? A wild thief? Even she's like, who wrote this? Who wrote this script? That's stupid. Nobody cares. You got to say something either funny or whatever, but a wild thief. Like, that just doesn't. Maybe she just read the script very badly. She'd been like, wild thief.
Home,
really
stealing
pizzazzy
her
and
pumpkin.
jazzy.
Stevens says that she noticed signs of wildlife about a week earlier. She thought that it was squirrels that had been eating the pumpkin. And she says when that bear showed up at her front porch.
See, so he's grabbing a bunch of pumpkins. He's not just grabbing one pumpkin. He's grabbing a bunch of pumpkins. I'm telling you, they're probably there's probably scouts all over doing this, right? Stealing pumpkins from all over the place. And they're trying to build that wall like in the movie 300, like they did with the dead bodies and stuff. They're going to do that with the pumpkins. And they'll make them jack-o'-lanterns, so it's like super scary. They're all lit up everywhere. Watch your candles, guys. What they might be making candles, dude. We don't know if the bees are in on this. People talking about that we're losing bees and stuff. I don't know about that, guys. I don't know about that. It might just simply be that the bees are located kind of hyper centralized in one place because they're cranking out wax. They're cranking out wax, dude, and they're making these candles.
She started to scream.
I guess my screaming scared him off, so I ran to get my phone, and then when I came back, he slowly proceeded.
Would you scream at that, by the way, you guys? I wouldn't. Oh, and look at this, man. Look at that. Rapid Fire Friday, dude. Yeah, right there, baby. Right there. Oh, no, not those guys. We'll get that up. I don't want to support the people on the far right. That's the only time I say that ever. It's the only time I ever say that. Oh, man. Yeah, bear spotted. Would you guys scream? Or would you just go get your phone? I would just go get my phone. I mean, obviously, the pumpkin's not hurt. This lady's overly dramatic. I was screaming. What, is the bear going to come through the window? It's possible. We've seen him climb cars. Oh, we've seen the crazy stuff. Oh, and now he's playing with it. Look at this.
Video that pumpkin nearly got away from that furry thief, but the bear did manage to recover it, took it across the street, and then had it for a little snack.
So here's what I thought.
Had it for a little snack. You don't know that. You have no clue. You're reading a script. I need to know, who are the people in the background? Who are the people typing this thing out, man? You can't trust anybody, guys. You can't trust anybody. I got this from somebody. Watch out for spider crickets in your home this fall. Dude, come on. This is like... By the way, can you guys can you ever hear crickets? One of them buggers got in my wall. And it started like all the way across. They have this long dungeon here at Castle Paleocrat, right? So it's huge. It's huge. It's where we keep our prisoners and stuff. The animal cages over there and the war. But the thing is, it came out over there, right? Down the big spiral staircase from the towers here. And it came down And I could hear it for a while, man. I'd be doing shows and I hear the cricket chirps and stuff. And I'm thinking, what? And I just thought them buggers, to be honest, I kind of thought maybe they'd just die. Like, they're not outside. What are they going to do inside? How long are they going to live like that? And slowly, it took maybe a week. And it was really getting annoying. It started to kind of, come over closer. And I couldn't find it because there's the echoes, man, the acoustics in here. And I'm thinking, dude, this is bad. And then one night, man, I'm doing the show, and I felt like it was like right up on me. And I'm thinking, bro, dude, I want to find this thing. What am I going to do? I'm going to put on that, be back in a moment thing. I'll be like, hold on, guys. Put it on. You'll hear me just cussing up a storm. Get out of here. Pulling a Yosemite Sam. Much like stink bugs, these insects will be invading your home. Will they this fall? Of course they will, man. We've talked about it. It's going to happen on Halloween. Or between January and April. Well, no, it was. Remember? It was between January and April. That's right. It was. The animal invasion is, they really have moved up. Dude, but that is a gross looking animal. It's a gross looking, what is this thing again? It's a cricket, a spider cricket. Oh, the thing is, people say, oh, it's, they see funny, cute things and they're like, oh man, the Lord is love, or the Lord's got a great sense of humor. And some stuff like this, you're like, he is a God of wrath. He is a God of wrath. Yeah, that's really, really terrible. They typically jump toward what frightens them. Oh, like, dude, that literally just gave me shivers, man. Like, I'm thinking, like, oh, you don't even know. Oh, no, you stay out right now. You stay out. We'll save a couple of these for a different time because it was okay, I want to show you guys this, but man, where's the video? Okay, I'll only show a couple more because I have a video that I want, a transitional one here that I really want to do. There it is. That's a hint, guys. That's a hint because we're moving on. We're getting to the series. We'll do this guy here right before the series. This guy is seriously injured. Watch this. Yeah, there's no audio. Look at his face. Look at that guy's face. What a guy. He's like, oh. One more time. Hold on. Look at him. It burns. What is this? Oh, dude, he's like rubbing. Oh. He's going to be using chapstick on those things, dude, for the next couple days. What a guy. Hold on, look at his face. Oh, he looks like that one guy from Parks and Recreation. It's always they're misnaming him and stuff. What's that guy's name? That's a hilarious show, by the way. Partisan, ridiculousness at this point. We're coming back because we want to do an episode to get Joe Biden in, and you're like, I'm gonna skip over that episode, right? I don't know. It might still be hilarious. I mean, the Biden campaign's kind of a running joke, but this right here, guys. We're moving on to the serious. Before we do, remember to check out Paleocratdiaries.com. Of course, you have to check it out right now because we've been not only posting shows. Sometimes it might take a little bit, but we post shows. You can share it. We have a list of links, so like a table of content, so that you're able to go and you can click on. If you say, man, I really like this one segment, or I really like that one article, and I'd like to share that with my friends, just copy that specific URL for the hyperlink and share that with your friends, and it'll take them directly to that segment. And of course, we have a link for the entire show as well, so you can do that. And yesterday we shared Ailey's original meme. Her original meme, the Wretchin Gretchen play on the Garbage Pail Kid card. And I've got a bunch of Garbage Pail Kids. I've got a bunch of those, man. And I was talking to her yesterday. I might even have the original Wretchin Gretchen. And if I do, then she can scan that. And that would be the most crystal clear quality. I mean, at that point, we could put it on shirts. So wish me luck, guys. Because, it's kind of hard. You don't want it to be all like, pixelated and crap like that. So, all right, Paleocratdiaries.com. And, of course, be a subscriber. You can become a member, or you can even reach out to me on Wix and on the Wix app. You can do that, and you can just comment. There's a little pop-up box. You can chat with me at any time on Wix, and it's been great. I've actually been speaking with a number of people who've reached out to me that way. I prefer that. In fact, if you really want to reach out to me more than anything else, hit me up on Wix. Go to paleocratdiaries.com and you'll see a little pop-up chat window, and you can click on that, and that goes to me. Goes direct. For now. For now. But I want you, can you tell who this is? Okay, can you tell? You might be able to tell for the voice. I didn't know that he did this, by the way. I had no clue. So this is kind of a cool thing. We won't play the entire thing, but man, it's just fun. And it's cool to know. It's one of those, dun dun dun, the more you know, right? It's just one of those.
It is, in fact, Memorial Day weekend.
I'm sorry for the lag on the video, by the way.
Beginning today, the 500 Festival Committee organizes a special commemoration on the American Legion Mall in Indianapolis, Indiana. And let me just close the balance of this show. All the frivolity and all the talk we've had of the military justice and the American military. Let me see if I can't shuffle a little bit of that off and just take a moment.
You hear that music?
To say thanks to all of you listening, men and women, whoever served this country.
He's kind of a
in any
handsome guy,
way,
too.
shape, manner, or form. There might be some of you out there that served in WW1, as you like to call it.
I can't listen to it too long, though. I can't. It's just kind of slow, you know what I'm saying? It's just a little slow. He's better as a politician, to be honest. You know what I mean? He kind of lacks the pizzazz, although there is a place for that. Edith and Esther. Madeline and Maude. They're all listening. They are. And they probably even have those small little posters that local celebrities had, back in the day. And they have that, on the wall in the elder care home. Signed by him. Maybe he signed their rascal, at one of the rallies for Reagan. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's true. It's true, but he's a handsome guy. I mean, he's, he plays into that. But that style, very nostalgic, very patriotic, kind of slow a little bit. Yeah. Let's see here. In the comments, before we move into the serious stuff, Barbara says, a lot of my family, the Zonkas, live there, Ohio. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's, okay, so look. I'll add them to the list of things that, kind of make Ohio a little better. You're never going to get me to like Ohio. Someday, man, they're going to be like, look, we want to take you on a tour. We're going to show you all the great places. They're going to show me, where is that big ball of yarn? Isn't that in Ohio? That's going to be what they show me. They're going to be like, okay, and you're like, okay, what's our trip? Where are we going? What's the route we're going to take? And they're like, oh, it's just a straight there. That's the one thing. That's what we've got. Oh man, I'm a Wolverine. So come on, man, come on. You got it. You got to roll with it. Yeah, bikini baristas. What? Yeah, people were talking about the story of the diner / bar, the Rebel diner and bar. And by the way, that Rebel flag was massive. Dude, it was like the whole wall right in front of a karaoke thing. So, I mean, they obviously were having a lot of, fun with the whole boot, scoot, and boogie thing. But, during the day, wow, that's something to wake up to, believe me. They got bikini baristas there. Where are you? I don't know where that is. My grandma always said why, but the cow, when you can't get the milk for free. Okay. Grease splatter on the belly. Yes, that's true. I've done that before, where you're swimming, you're doing something, you're lifting weights, and you're like, you hear, oh, it's really good to eat as soon as you're done. And you're like, oh, okay, hold on. And you go upstairs, you're done lifting weights. You're all sweaty and you're feeling pretty buff. And you go and you slap some steak on there and you're cooking it with a bunch of butter. And next thing you know, it's all over your chest. You're like, wow, and you're totally a wuss. And then you try, like, people are looking, your family's looking at you, and they know you just got done working out, and they're real proud of all the effort you're doing. They hear you downstairs. They hear it. So you're sitting there, you're focused, dude. You're focused through the storm with all the, It was oil splatter on the belly. Oh, what dads go through. Yeah, don't go because of the near occasion of sin. That's what I'm saying. Scandal. We mentioned that earlier, the sin of scandal. Yeah. And that's the thing. Most people nowadays, there may even be listeners to the show. They're like, what are they talking about? The sin of scandal. Look up the sin of scandal. Find out what this is. One commenter thinks that the bear was mistaking the pumpkin for a honey jar. You know, I don't know, man. I just don't know. I think it's more likely that we're talking about that wall from 300. The dead people wall. The wall of jack-o'-lanterns. It's more probable. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Yeah, Allie says, it's a little embarrassing when we wear the same hoodie, talking about the question earlier about my hoodie. Wear it the same day, and we don't realize it until we go out. You know, it's not as bad, though. It's not as bad as, you know, the people who go out and they both got the fanny packs on and the spandex shorts and the socks that are like rolled. Remember when people did that? Like olive oil on the movie Popeye? Where it's like rolled down and they've got, you know, these marshmallow white shoes and their shirts that they're wearing match. And they're those ones with like Bugs Bunny and Taz. And they're crossing their arms, but they're crisscrossing their clothes. So if you look on the back, the clothes are facing forward, but it's the back of their head and the hat's backward and stuff. That is another level. So I'm glad when I wear my Taz and Bugs crisscross shirt that we've never both worn it on the same day. Really grateful. Really grateful. I'm glad you're laughing too, Barbara. I'm glad you're laughing. That's, you know, we have to have fun because the truth is, we have a lot of really, really terrible things going on in the world. We have a lot of terrible things going on in the world. And, you know, and it's not just the animal takeover. I mean, we're in all seriousness, in even maybe greater degrees of seriousness. We're watching as our religion is falling apart. It's hard to find, you know, any denomination even at this point in the United States that hasn't been infected with offensive degrees of modernism, postmodernism, that kind of SJW cult crap. It's everywhere. And it's so, I don't even know. I mean, to me, I'm not even sure exactly what is enticing about that. I mean, it's self-loathing. It's self-loathing. It is deconstructive. Did they really hate what they were? Did they really? Have they forgotten? I mean, how many people do you know who it's almost like, you know, it's almost like that whole Mandela effect thing. You're sitting there saying, what happened, dude? What happened in the world? You know, it wasn't long ago. Not just that, you know, people question religious beliefs. I did that. But where they go really, really radical, I did that. Really radical. Against what you used to be. Did you really hate it? Did you really think it was evil? Do you really think it's evil now? Do you think that, you know, that people who believed that, like in that moment, are you really ashamed? Are you ashamed that in that moment that you believed that was just, righteous, and good? And in fact, you were happy and you believed that the world was making progress in many different areas and that you could look back and see a difference between yourself and people in the past, while also identifying and recognizing that from that's where you came from. But you gotta laugh. You have to laugh. Otherwise, we're just in super duper, super big trouble. And yes, you wonder if God's up there laughing at us. If heaven is tuned into this show, and I'm sure that many of the people in heaven are, then they are laughing. They are having a good time. And of course, they're having the maximum good time. I mean, there's, you know, an ever increasing maximum of good time. And so, you know, but it has to help. And yes, that's a young Mike Pence. It's a young Mike Pence. All right, we're going on serious business. Serious business, playing Despacito on your cell phone to pander to us is not going to work. This is Cuban-American MMA fighter blasts the Democrats, delivers knockout for President Trump. And by the way, the stories of this, the funny stuff was front loaded at the first hour. And we normally won't take a full hour, but it's Friday. It's Friday. So we're going to have a fun time, man. It's the end of the week. We're cruising in, but we still got to make some, these headlines here. We got to make the news for the rest of the weekend. What people are talking about for Saturday and Sunday, we're going to do it right here. But yeah, MMA fighter Blasted Dems delivers knockout for President Trump by Brock Simmons. Look at this guy. Oh, he's looking like kind of a proud fella, if you know what I mean. The gold and black. I kind of wonder, man, what's up with this guy? A.K.A. Street Jesus. Jorge Masvidal is one of the biggest MMA fighters on the planet. And he's talking to us. He said the Democrats, I would play the video, but he drops the F-bomb. And I don't know if it's just at the end. I think it is. We're gonna play it, and we'll stop it because I'm pretty positive it's right there at the end. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play this, okay? And again, I'm sorry for the delay. We're gonna work on that over the weekend because there's a lag. There's a latency issue between the video capture, okay, and or the web page capture and the audio. So we'll work on that. So bear with me. Here we go.
I'm going to let you in on something. The Democrats just think that they're entitled to the Latino vote. They think that we just have to hand it over to them.
And again, I apologize if there are
we sure as hell don't.
any naughty words.
Así mismo. Así mismo. They got to show us what they can do for us, what they can do for our communities. We're not going to buy the same wolf tickets and false promises that destroyed great countries like Venezuela and Cuba. It's not going to happen. You know what else is not going to work for them? Playing Despacito on your cell phone to pan.
By the way, that's Joe Biden did that. He had no idea what that was. He's like, oh, hold on a second. I've been told to do this by my handler and my earpiece that goes through the wires that you all saw. Right? So he plays that, and he's like bobbing his head. He's doing the white guy thing.
Hand it to us. Hell no. You got to give us some credit for having heads on our shoulders. I'm going to wrap this up with some words of Barack Obama. He said elections have consequences. That is true. And those words have never been more true than they are today. We either re-elect President Trump and keep America great. Amen.
So he goes through, this guy's he's serious business. This guy's serious business. And the thing is, this is spooking Democrats. Democrats don't like that. Democrats like it when people of color get in line, when they stay on the reservation. They do. They believe that, man. They believe you need to stay where you are. You belong to us. And they've gotten away with it for a long time. With the help, by the way, of their race hustling leaders, quote unquote, which is, by the way, that whole concept of, well, they're not the leaders of your group. That's so fake, by the way. The super dupe fake. Oh, yeah, this person is a leader of an entire race of people. Baloney, dude. Baloney, dude. That's kind of like saying he's the leader of the white people. Take us to your leader. What are you talking about, dude? And how racist is that when white people would be offended, the Democrats, by the way, they say, oh, the idea that there's a leader of the whites, and then they'll talk about different leaders in the minority communities, and they'll talk about it as if those individuals have to follow an intellectual leader, but not them. Because they're super duper racist. And we all, on the right, we say, look, everybody is their own person. Everybody gets to make decisions for themselves. If they respect somebody, that's one thing, but to be like, he's a leader. Come on, man. And the people who play that card, they're race hustlers. They're race hustlers, each and every one of them. That's how you know it's a race hustler. Take me to your leader. You don't have no independent mind. Follow the leader. Give me a break, dude. Free yourselves, man. Oh, no. I'm not talking about this left odds and a chipmunk. What the? Okay. Speaking of race hustlers, 1619 Project. We talked about this, guys. We talked about this. This is one of those things that, you say, well, why focus on this so much? Well, not only because it's really around us all the time. We're literally inundated with this. And it's easy for some people to forget, like, the amount of propaganda. It's one of those things that you become acclimated. And so you're accustomed to seeing it. Kind of like how every month somehow turns out to be some kind of a Pride Month, right? And you're like, didn't we just have that a little bit ago? And it's like, no, this is the visibility one. And you're like, oh, okay, I hear you. But the thing is that you have to find what are some of the moments, and it's easy to get caught in the trap of, a current event, and not the philosophical underpinnings of what would even make somebody view a current event in a certain way. So take George Floyd. Take any of these lamentable examples that Black Lives Matter and rioters and looters and everybody else that they have used as reasons to go out and protest and to riot and to loot and to murder. Find out what this is, to say, if you look at those events by themselves, those events wouldn't be something. I mean, there's only how many in 2019? Was it 14 unarmed black men who died by the hands of a police officer? Was it 14? So you sit there and you go, if you have 14 instances in a country of like 330 million people, that's not even going to hardly pop up. There has to be some kind of a framework wherein people have a framework wherein they can understand and interpret and apply different events that take place and the lessons that they glean from them. 1619 Project is one of those things. And the founder loses her mind after valid criticisms of her project by her colleague. This is by Libby Emmons and Barrett Wilson over at thepostmillennial.com. If you haven't read, by the way, if you haven't checked out the Post Millennial, you got to do it. It's a great site. I think it's Canadian. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can. Look at that. The Washington Post has revealed that Hannah Jones, the founder of the 1619 Project, became furious when she was faced with criticisms from one of her colleagues over the revisionist project that attempts to link the founding of America to slavery, and suggests that the true founding in America was in 1619. Brett Stevens wrote about his dismay with the 1619 Project in the paper of record that ran the essay in the first place. So the New York Times runs this essay, right? The 1619 Project, won a Pulitzer Prize, by the way. Became this big deal. Became huge. Wins a Pulitzer. They got to take it back, by the way. They won't because they're afraid. Has nothing to do with academia anymore. It's kind of like Martin Luther King Jr. Like, I'm sorry to bum people out, and this might, but he was not necessarily the greatest guy in the world. And it started pretty young. He totally plagiarized the daylights out of his doctoral thesis. I mean, to go in to get your doctorate and to plagiarize like crazy. We're talking significant sums of his thesis paper. Yeah. Unbelievable. But they won't take it away. It's been too long. It would be, they're like, maybe it's kind of petty and stuff like that. But she's still alive, man. She's still alive. She also tweeted that efforts to discredit her work, quote, put me in a long tradition of black women who fail to know their places. What a sicko, dude. Do you see, by the way, how the race hustler deals with things? It doesn't matter on the offense or the defense. It always turns into victim land. All the time. You criticize and say, look, you actually have some things that are wrong with what you said. Here's my disagreement with you. Oh, you're putting me in a long tradition of black ladies who were told to be in their places. What? How about you woman up, by the way? Why are you so weak? If you think that the criticisms are wrong, How about you just simply write something demonstrating why they're wrong without, ad hominem attacks? Oh, because you can't. Because you're wrong. She went further and changed her Twitter bio to, quote, slanderous and nasty-minded mulattress, a reference to the trailblazing journalist Ida B. Wells, whom the Times slurred with those same words in 1894. Oh, yeah, that's... What a joke. The idea that she can place herself back in that time. Like America hasn't changed. You got a Pulitzer. You got a Pulitzer. Look around you. Look, this is why victims can't look around them. Or they're super selective when they do. Or they play, like I say all the time, they play Mr. Potato Head to manipulate like silly putty events to make it fit the narrative. Oh, this event doesn't fit. Hold on, let me. Oh, this doesn't present the optic of the narrative. Hold on. Pop. Let me put in another Mr. Potato Head piece, pull it out of his butt. What a joke. And to compare herself. And remember this, guys. Remember what she said. That guy, and she's really popular, by the way. Do you know what kind of outcry resulted from this? Do you know how many people probably attacked that guy and sent him hate mail over this? Because she accused him of trying to put a black woman in her place? Dang, son. What about the idea, how many people, think of the accusation that they're calling her a slanderous and nasty-minded mulattress. Think about to self-ascribe that. You know why she had to self-ascribe that? Because she couldn't find anything that anyone had actually written that was anything close. Nothing close. Ain't that a thing? You got to reach all the way back to 1894. Why? Because you can't find anything close written by anybody in the Times, much less the person that wrote the thing critical of what you said. Ain't that a thing? Isn't that telling, though, guys? Isn't that telling? Of course it is. This girl's a joke. National Association of Scholars. Pulitzer Board must revoke Nicole Hannah-Jones's prize. It's by Peter Wood. He has a great book, by the way, on diversity. I actually did a podcast. And you can hear, it's just an audio podcast. It's pretty long. It's like about 45 minutes long. And it's on the issue of diversity. It's hilarious, of course. But it's very serious, too. And it's on portions of his book. Very, very, very good. He's one of my heroes. So I'm glad to see you wrote that, by the way. I didn't know, like, to stumble on stuff, where your heroes, you see your heroes and something, you're like, oh, look at that. This is what they wrote. Quote, prominent historians, most of them deeply sympathetic to the project's goal. Oh, so they're not pulling that whole nasty mulattress thing? Of bringing the African-American experience more fully into our understanding of the American past. Nevertheless, felt obliged to point out in public statements beginning in September 2019 the project's serious factual errors. Oh. That's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Remember we talk about the National, what is it, man? The National Museum of African American History and Culture. Remember that? We talked about that many times. And the slides that talk about what whiteness is. Talking about factual errors and spacious generalizations and forced interpretations. You're kind of white-splaining. You're kind of forcing your imperial whiteness on these people. Factual errors, but my story. Spacious generalizations, but my experiences. Forced interpretations. That's but my relative understandings in my brain. Hannah-Jones did not refute these criticisms or answer them in a respectful or meaningful way. Instead, she just dismissed them. Think about it, guys. The Washington Post notes, too, that Hannah-Jones has walked back some of her ire. This is why I said remember. This is why I said remember. Think about this, because remember the initial claim. She's saying that the critic is trying to put a black woman in her place. That's super, super wicked accusation, by the way. She then said they were calling her a nasty mulattress, comparing herself to somebody in the 1890s. And then listen to what this says. She acknowledges that for all the experts she consulted, she should have sat down with scholars with particular focus on colonial history, the Revolutionary War, and the Civil War. Wait a second. So you didn't sit down with scholars who talked about colonial history, and yet you say that we're founded in 1619? Yeah, you know why? It's because she went to scholars in the grievance industry. She went to all of the ethnic studies people, probably gender studies people. Well, they know a lot about the gender spectrum. Who cares? What? Oh. That's like a Scientologist saying they know a lot about, thetans and stuff. I know a lot about thetans, guys. Okay, I hear ya. I should have been more careful, she said, because I don't think that any other fact would have given people the fodder that this has, and I'm tortured by it. I'm absolutely tortured by it. Think about it. So after all that time, after all those outrageous claims, tortured that she didn't talk to certain people. Yeah, you should be. In fact, I'm glad. I don't want to shoot, somebody while they're down, but she should be really glad because she's been saved from tomfoolery, from idiocracy, because she was wallowing in it. Here's the thing. Hannah Jones is plagued by her initial refusal to be careful with the facts of the story she was telling, as well as, I'll add, the accusations being hurled against people who actually were, and to instead focus on how the project and the history felt to her. But that's exactly what the problem with critical race theory has been. It's not about facts. It's a theory about the material reality of society that is based on emotional reactions and historical problems that, while serious and long-lasting, are not manifest in America today to even remotely the same extent. Unbelievable. I mean, but this is where she comes from. She comes from stuff like this. Christopher Columbus and those like him were no different than Hitler. The crimes they committed were unnecessarily cruel and can only be described as acts of the devil. Africans... Whoa. Let's see here. Sorry. Africans had been to the Americas long before Columbus or any Europeans. Wow. The difference is that Africans had the decency and respect for human life to learn from the Native Americans and trade technology with them. Where is she getting any of this, by the way? Not the archaeological record. Not anything written at that time. The pyramids of the Aztecs. Oh, okay, so she's saying the pyramids and the great stone heads are lasting monuments to the friendship of these two people. She can't prove that. Where do you even get this? Honestly, it sounds like Nation of Islam crap. That's voodoo nonsense, by the way. But as David Walker wrote in his appeal in 1829, the white men acted more like devils than accountable men. Whites have always been unjust, jealous, unmerciful, avaricious, and bloodthirsty set of beings, always seeking after power and authority. Those white people, we've always been this way, boys. Wow. Using Christianity as their excuse. The white race denied the native people their humanity. This lady is a complete loon bird. And speaking of loon bird, I have to do my daily advocacy for the site. You got to go check it out. JoeBidenIsSick.com. It's great, a great site. I'm not It was sponsored by them, so I'm not going to go through all this stuff. Not going to go through. It's got a bunch of great videos. You got to tell Mr. Ali Alexander. We talk about him all the time. People got to go check it out. So, okay, moving on, because we got to blow through this. Joe Biden cannot protect his own campaign from coronavirus. Look, do you guys remember? Didn't it seem like a really long time ago? I don't know, like last week. Last week, when everybody in the media and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were bashing Trump campaign people, saying, oh my gosh, look, man, your people got the Rona. Look, all the people you couldn't even protect because you guys weren't wearing masks. And then guess what? Joe Biden cannot protect his campaign, which means there's a good possibility that Joe Biden cannot protect himself. Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris was forced to suspend campaign travel. Oh, isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? I wonder if the media is going to bash her for that, by the way. I wonder, or, maybe they'll say it's because she wasn't taking proper precautions. Doing everything from distance. Wearing masks all Here we are, less than 20 days from the election, and the same campaign that just spent weeks shaming President Trump for catching the contagious virus is now itself partly grounded because of a viral outbreak in its own campaign. But mask. And again, let's flip this right back around. If Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cannot protect their own campaign, how are they going to protect America? That is what was said against the Republicans. We need to be the kind of people that, on a partisan scale, when people are flinging potato salad at us, we got to take that whole freaking bowl and just shove it right back in their face. And then maybe dance around them. Hot mic, liberal Senator Feinstein, sorry about that. Senator Feinstein caught ranting about Amy Coney Barrett's Catholic religion. Oh, and you know, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't necessarily say anything new. Doesn't say anything new. We've known this for a while, including from Harris. Old Kamala, she's a basher of traditional religion. She hates it. It probably convicted her of the adulterous relationships and stuff that she had in the past. What's her name? Willie Brown. She was his mistress, dude. Like people forget this. They're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. They don't forget it. They celebrate it now. They're like, oh, she's just making her way up the ranks. So out of one side of their mouth, they don't like the casting couch. On the other side of their mouth, they're like, oh well, she was playing it good. Senator Feinstein did not know the video was off when she said this. Quote, she's been pro-life for a long time, so I suspect with her, it's deeply personal. It's deeply personal and comes with her religion. All this is really saying, by the way, nothing big about that. You don't want to put too much into that, but because we all know it anyway, that what they really care about, the Democrats here, and a lot of Republicans, to be honest, is that you project the idea that you're religious. As long as you look like you're playing the part, they really don't care. In fact, they prefer that, because if you actually are religious, where it's something that's actually sincere, which is what they're worried about, by the way. They're like, oh my gosh, this lady's actually, she seems like she actually believes what she's talking about. That really worries these people, because they're demoniacs. They're demoniacs, dude. These people are spirit cooking demoniacs. Tons of them. You don't even know. That's why when the lady brought up QAnon, last night at the Trump town hall, did you see that, by the way? Man, dude, he is a wrecking machine. Oh, I love this guy. It's moments like that I say, yes, this is the man we need, because other people would try to play the game with them. Because, of course, the media, they begin by asking about things like QAnon and asking things like white supremacy. We talked about that yesterday, man. There's 3,000 to 5,000 people in the country who believe that. That's basically the number of snake handlers. And they might actually be a great overlap between the two. And if you think that those people have a massive societal and cultural impact, you are nuts. You are nuts. El stupido. which I think is Spanish for very stupid. Oh. Yeah, unbelievable. In the comments, Nicole Starkaniski. Didn't see you all week. What's going on with this? Saw you a couple days. You head out. I said, this is an intense show. It's an intense show. But I'm glad to see you. And yes, it is a very good morning. Barbara says, trust God in our hearts. We must. We absolutely must. Yeah. Unbelievable. Talking about the fall of religion, saying that this is an old thing, in fact. And this goes, there are some people who say, Pope John Paul II and Pope Paul VI and others. I know that some people talk about that. This goes back quite a way, to the point, in fact, I was saying yesterday, back to the pious popes. Pius X, the making of his, Penny Catechism? The whole thing behind that, and what caused that. Why did he pen the catechism? Why did he do it? It was because when he read the draft that was presented to him, slammed it on the ground. Modernism. So this is old school. This has been attacked for a long time. We mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here for that, we mentioned earlier the Alta Vendita, the Freemasonic attempt at attacking not only the Catholic Church, but undermining Christendom and Western culture, which the Catholic Church throughout history has been the primary driver of that. It's the largest of all the religions. Let's see here. I remember going into RCIA not long ago, a few years back, a nun who was teaching it brought up nearly every time at the start of class how bad Trump is. Finally, I had to say, I said, this is RCIA, not a political class. Yes. Was she dressed as a nun, by the way? Was she dressed as a nun? And congratulations. I just want to say it, man. Congratulations, Nicole, on going into RCIA. Yeah, definitely really cool. Very glad that you're doing that. But a lot of these nuns, they're just lesbos. They're lesbos in common clothes. And they want to be, in kind of this weird Wicker Man styled. I'm talking the Wicker Man, the new one, the newer with Nicolas Cage. They want to be in one of those like societies. And so they say, look, I'm going to, go in here. Barbara said, actually, God put you in my path this morning. I died in 2015 and spoke with Jesus while in a coma. And he put me back, and now I hear him always. He shows me things that are coming. I'd be interested to hear more about that. Yeah, anybody who's, I've heard some crazy stories about people who have died in a coma. See, Nicole, I was just so surprised to hear how much hate was going on. Yes. Yeah. Just unbelievable. All right, moving on here. More stories, rapid fire. Trump has now won with countless essential workers. This is by Victor Davis Hanson. And I don't want to go through all this, but basically, when you have Joe Biden accusing large portions of our country of being racist, and somehow excluding himself, by the way, he doesn't sit there and say, I am irreparably racist. He's an old dog. That'd be really tough to unlearn that trick, especially when it's deep down in your nature and you're just ragingly racist. But he won't do that. Okay? But he's making it about this. They have to, because their side of the aisle is identitarian to the core. And you can see, I was really glad, actually, to see this divide that took place between the identitarians and the class, the group that focuses on class, like Bernie Sanders, for example. Bernie Sanders takes a position. People can disagree all day long with a number of his positions and his policy proposals. I do. But the basic idea that this is a class matter, that we have elites, and that oftentimes the elites and the poor, right, the elites give false promises to the poor but squish the center. And that the idea in response is to say, look, we need to realize what the elites are doing, and the center, the middle, and the lower class, the poor in society, right? that we need to be able to cause them to rise up in a JFK-style model, this idea that, all boats rise together thing. So instead of the sandwich that squishes the center helps the bottom to raise up while going after the elites and saying, look, not to tear it down. I believe that we need, in fact, elites. I believe that. People can say, well, it's weird. And you say, no, that's actually, old school Americana stuff, dude. It's why we have a Senate, man. It's why we are a republic and not a democracy. Because we understand that even in nature, there's an aristocracy. Gifts and talents rise, man. Sometimes just raw, drive for power. But even that is a little bit of a gift, right? Even that is it might not land you in the right place, but you're really gifted at being, powerful. Maybe even a little bit evil. But the thing is, the class considerations and the interests of class are the real themes of this election. I agree with him. They are on the side of the president who took the same calculated risk that millions do to meet the requirements of their jobs that simply cannot be done from basements and safe zones or over computers and smartphones. Think about that. Do you know how many people related to that? That thought, hey, Joe Biden has a luxury. He can sit in a basement every day. All the people on his campaign, they have a luxury. They can sit on a computer every day in a basement and never go outside. But there are a lot of people that they are required to go out. They are required to do things in order, not only required that they simply have to, but this is their dream and their vision in life. And they put tons of work and time, money invested with education maybe. And it's landed them in a place where they have to take that risk. In fact, that's central to the entire endeavor, is the idea of a calculated risk and saying, look, I'm willing to put myself out on the line. I do this all the time. I'm willing. I have a calculated risk, by the way, to come on this show and to talk about controversial issues the way that I do. With the tone that I do. You don't even know the haters, man. Maybe you do a little, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. But I sit there and say, look, okay, here's what I want. Here's what I wish to accomplish. Multiple things, by the way. But here's what I believe in. Here's what's going on. Here's what might happen if I make this choice. If I choose to go this route. I could sit here on a microphone and talk about, happy, fun, joyous stuff all day long and never talk about anything deeper than, people popping balloons with their butts and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I could do that. I don't want to do that. I don't believe that I've been called by God to do that. I haven't gone to school to do that. I'm sorry I didn't go to clown mime school. You know what I mean? It might have been a mistake. Not the mime part. Well, no, it was not a mistake. But you know what I mean? Like, there are many things I could have done. It would just be happy, joyous, fun time. And not put myself on the line where I could get kicked off of different channels. I anticipate it. I'm actually preparing for the day. I have stuff behind me that says when this happens, here's the fallback. And I'm trying to boost those things so that that if and when that ever happens, that won't even be the primary mechanism that I'm relying on, so that it's still a hit. But it's not hitting the main, you know what I'm saying? But people understand that for themselves. They think through the same thing. They think through that when they think about what they do for their living, what they and their children are willing to do, where they're willing to go, things they're willing to say. So COVID, the quarantine, the president's illness alike have all become class issues. On the one hand are the elites, right? These entitled Karens. They scream and rant when they see a slipped mask. Put the mask up. I'm in your business. Now, finally, I have a right to control you. I've wanted that all the while. Control freak maniacs, dude. They worship Lord Zoom and His Highness Skype. They brag about their near perfect quarantine. And they become insufferable when talking about the science and Dr. Fauci. In truth, telecommunicating, distance working, and remote profiting classes are all part of a pyramid-like capstone, a pyramidal. Is that how you pronounce it? Capstone of American society the tiny tip that does not totter or blow off because it rests on a vast, indomitable base below that has no such options. That is probably you listening now. Johnny Q, Sally Sue, I salute you, by the way. I'm not kidding when I say I am a man of the people. I believe in people. We are the vast majority. I'm a populist for this reason. But you know, if you're listening now, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You can relate to it. You can relate when you were forced to stay inside. How did that make you feel? When you saw things that other people might say, well, why does that make you mad? When you saw Pelosi in those super fancy refrigerators and freezers, opening it up to all of her, vast amounts of ice cream. Or when she was at a salon, walking around getting her hair cut and telling you couldn't. Or Maxine Waters, walking around with no mask on in an airport, going to a private jet. All these people, the grotesque hypocrisy, Biden preaching at you all the time and then walking into a gym and taking his mask off to cough. Or the guy that came up with the imperial model, right? The guy that was predicting we'd have 2 million people die. That guy telling everybody, we got to be locked down. We got to be in quarantine. And what is he doing? He's secretly meeting night after night with somebody he's having an affair with. And that person is a mother and she's married. Oh, maybe you guys were taking COVID precautions while you were, badoinking, sinning through the roof. That's burning hell stuff, dude. And not just the badoink-a-doink. But sit there and using that model and then going out and doing that. How did you feel when you saw Dr. Fauci ask the question about Tinder and saying, well, people have the choice to make decisions regarding risk. But for everybody else, you better stay inside your house. You should not go to work. How did you feel? Did you feel rage? Was there fire and fury in your bones? Did you cry? Did you look out the window and cry? And when did you get to the point where you finally said, I've had enough? Trump's on our side. He puts himself out there in risk. Here's another guy putting himself out there in risk. Ice Cube. CNN canceled my interview amid news that I worked with Trump on an economic plan for Black Americans. Rapper, actor, and Big Three Basketball League founder, Ice Cube, has accused CNN of canceling an upcoming interview on Cuomo Primetime. That's okay. Guido sucks. Guido's the worst. Guido and Don Lemon, those two guys, they're just diabolical. Probably spirit cookers. Following his revelation that he worked with the Trump campaign on an economic plan for Black Americans. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? You worked on a campaign with Donald Trump to help and put together an economic plan that will support Black Americans? How dare you? You probably are a racist. What a joke. Apparently, Ice Cube had a contract with Black America. It's what he calls it, contract with Black America. Democrats blew him off. They told him they would address the issue after the election. Trump people reached out and said, dude, we'll talk to you, bro. Come on in, dude. We'll help draft this. Oh, but Trump's a racist. He's a racist for working with Black people. What? What's wrong with you? He's putting together an idea for an economic plan. Look, you can debate it all day long, but one thing you can't do is say he did it because he hates Black people. He did it because he's a racist. No, he's not. And you're a dumb idiot. Ice Cube's A Contract with Black America Addressing Racial Inequality is a political manifesto that puts forth a, quote, blueprint to achieve racial economic justice. It's intended to put pressure on companies, including financial institutions, to invest in black communities and approve more loans to black families and black-owned businesses. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, got to talk about this one. Breaking. C-SPAN suspends Steve Scully. Remember we talked about this, by the way, guys? I said, you got to get him out of here. I wish I had that clip. I'm like, you got to get him out of here. Well, guess what? C-SPAN did. Oh, for a little bit, by the way. Yeah, for a little bit. They're not entirely sure how long that'll be. It'll take a little bit of time, but they're confident that he can come back. C-SPAN has suspended political editor Steve Scully indefinitely after he admitted that he lied about his Twitter feed being hacked. Yeah, because he sent a tweet to Scaramucci. To Scary Moochie. Initially, Scully claimed that he was a victim of a hack, but that just wasn't true. He now admitted, and look, didn't we say it, guys? Like I said, we are ahead on this stuff. Maybe C-SPAN was watching the show. You never know. People, I'm telling you, people on the Hill used to watch it. I used to get phone calls, man, from various people who worked in different offices for representatives. I've never had a Senate office, listen, that I know of, but I've had representatives. Now, he wrote this. I sent a brief tweet. See, look at how he's still trying to say, he's trying to downplay it. I sent a brief tweet. Why don't you just say tweet, dude? Because you're trying to downplay exactly what this is. I sent a brief one. It's a little easy one. Come on, guys. To Anthony's Scary Moochie. The next morning, when I saw that this tweet had created a new controversy, I falsely claimed that my Twitter account had been hacked. See, he's even saying, look, the next morning when I saw that this tweet had created a new controversy, he's kind of like distancing himself, even using like, I saw that it did this. Instead of saying like, this tweet, I shouldn't have done this. He doesn't anything. He doesn't believe that was a problem to reach out to anti-Trump people. Well, why? Because he is one. Because all of these moderators, they are all anti-Trump people. Even the ones, I remember the game that they played in 2016. What was it, Lester Holt? Who was it, man, that was there? And they're like, oh, he's a Republican. As if that mattered. Dude, it's a mind game for these people. And you sit there and go, dude, Republicans, a significant number of elite level Republicans hate Donald Trump. Did you not watch debates? And do you really think Lester Holt is like a Trump guy? No. Big fat lies. Yeah, C-SPAN originally stood with him, claiming that he did not originate the tweet. Fake news. Fake news. We knew. Starting immediately, we've placed Steve on administrative leave. After some distance from this episode, we believe in his ability to contribute to C-SPAN. Maybe cleaning up some floors. Feminists criticized recently unveiled Medusa statue in Manhattan. Glad they don't show the entire thing. A recently unveiled sculpture of Medusa in New York City is drawing the ire of some feminists who are asking why a man created a piece of art meant to... Why did a guy make that? I don't know. Have a girl make one. To honor the Me Too movement. Well, maybe because supposedly the Me Too movement isn't just against men. It's against freaking rapists and abusers, supposedly. Oh, it's actually an anti-men movement? We all kind of wondered that. We all kind of wondered if that was really what was going on. And that you're using the cover of of highly emotive, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching situations as a Trojan horse. You pieces of garbage. The Greek mythological statue clutching the severed head of Perseus, called Medusa, with the head of Perseus, was unveiled in Collect Pond Park. Would you say collect or collect? I know in Latin. Anyway, Collect Pond Park. located across the street from the Manhattan courthouse where Harvey Weinstein was convicted of sexual assault. While some have praised the sculpture as being a powerful image, drawn criticism. Who asked why it was made by a guy? Aren't your priority? Well, sorry about that, guys. Yep, that's got full picture. And you know, I believe in that kind of art, but you know, this is a show that's got maybe some kids watching. Maybe some kids watching, and that's a risk assessment that you can make on your own to see the statue. It's actually a well carved statue, well sculpted. Let's see here. Hold on, I skipped way ahead here. Oh boy, what's this one? Oh, Billboard Music Awards ratings crashed by more than half. Go figure. It averaged 3.6 million total viewers, or less than half of what last year's show did. It's getting killed in the ratings. And look, this is over at Breitbart. It's even with a captive audience. And we all know why. People today hate celebrities now more than ever. Isn't it true? The quarantine really did bring out a lot of who we are, really. You know, when we're away from the trappings or the things that give us boosts. And you say, well, who are you by yourself when no one else is around? What are you? Kind of showed that. And it showed the elites in Hollywood to be pieces of crap. We all knew that before. You can smell them a mile away. You can see it in their phony smiles, in their fake skin. Real sad people. We're sick of these people, sick of their politics, sick of being lectured, sick of being talked down to. These award shows used to be fun. Now it's like a trip through socialist summer camp. Who, with 2 hours on their hands, would sit through another god-awful award show, sit through 2 hours of obtuse and obnoxious political lectures, where there are so many other options out there? I like the comparison to the 90s, saying that, you know, in 1990, people didn't need to reach into the past to be entertained, to enjoy some edgy, no-holds-barred, lecture-free comedy. He lists a bunch of them. He says, today you don't have a choice. That's why a lot of people now, they're going on things like, you know, Amazon Prime. They're going on YouTube. They're trying to find something else because they want an escape from that. Because all it is just lecturing constantly, badgering constantly, manipulation, agenda crap constantly. He gives a good warning. Unfortunately, sooner than you think, in order to force us to stop watching garbage like the Billboard Music Awards, all of the old stuff we enjoy now, like Seinfeld or Friends or The Office, will just disappear. It'll vanish. So hold on to your discs. Hold on to your hard copies. You should. And this is the guy that, by the way, that forecasted that Gone with the Wind would be targeted for censorship. He was right. We'll talk about the Michigan legislators passing statewide COVID. Well, we'll just talk about it real quick. While most Michiganders were sleeping, lawmakers in Lansing passed a number of bills placing some of the governor's executive orders that were overturned earlier this month, replacing them. Yeah, what to replace it with? I got to go through and read this. We'll break it down maybe next week. But it's a little bit disheartening. Legislators passed a number of bills to replace previous orders by the governor. Among them, a bill expanding unemployment. I'm okay with that. Extending the expiration for driver's licenses and registration. That's good. Allowing for virtual open meetings. Okay, what do we need to break that down more? And creating care and recovery centers in nursing homes. What is wrong with you? Is that what I'm thinking it is, by the way? Somebody let me know. Is that the stuff where they're putting COVID people inside of these nursing homes? If so, then wow. Wow, dude. If we wear masks and if we socially distance, these are the things that are going to help us bend down the curve. Dude, stop talking that way, man. That's cult talk. You're a cultist. We're going to break that down next week. We saw that. We'll talk about that next week. That's a good website, by the way. He's pretty edgy, though. Not going to lie. The Red Elephant. TheRedElephants.com. Don't agree with every single thing. We'll talk about this next week. The model forecast the U.S. current unrest a decade ago. It now says civil war. Look, I actually had a conversation with somebody just yesterday, a good buddy of mine, actually. And he shared a podcast over at Vox about the Proud Boys. It was probably like the worst analysis of the Proud Boys. And I'm not blaming the person who was hosting the debate, the Vox, employee. It's really the person claiming to be some kind of investigative scholar on the Proud Boys. She was very wrong on lots of things. I mean, it was like pretty bad. And some of the stuff that she was right on, it was like, they believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And you're like, really? Is that a criticism or something? Like, don't you? Oh, you don't? Cuckoo. Like, turn the channel, folks, quick. We got a weirdo. But the question came about civil war. And I'm like, dude, this is a serious thing. People, scholars, big time. And models that have projected this. And so we're going to talk about that and say, because I don't want people to go, oh, this guy is just inciting something, or he's inflammatory. And he's saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. These are scholars, man. Here's what, Boston University talking about it. Shut down D.C. We're going to talk about this. Left-wing radicals post online guide to disrupting the country if elections close. We'll tuck that in with the whole thing about civil war. Last thing I'll say is real quick. And then we're going to memes, folks. Remember, if you want to share memes, you got to share them at either Paleocrat Diaries at gmail.com. Of course, you can send them to me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I don't really do much there. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Parler. I just started. Okay, I started a while ago. I just reactivated it on my phone. Got to start doing that on Parler. It's actually pretty good. And of course, you can comment at paleocratdiaries.com. That's actually my favorite. You'd be able to go there, and there is a little pop-up thing, and you can have a conversation with me right there on the website. Stevie Nicks, there'd be no Fleetwood Mac if I had not had that abortion. Believe it or not, Stevie, look, I've said that I love Fleetwood Mac. Rumors is one of my favorite ever. But knowing that she attributes it to the sacrifice, and by the way, she can't assure that. In fact, it's interesting what she does assure. She's talking about, if I didn't have an abortion, we wouldn't have had it. And I kind of sit there and I say, you know what? Sometimes it's not worth the cost, believe it or not. You are good, but it's just not worth that. Have you ever thought about that? Like, if I didn't murder this person, I wouldn't have been able to go on to make great music. Okay, it's kind of weird that your brain even thinks that way. It's super sinful. You need to take a knee for Jesus stat, like right now. And in fact, I mean that in all seriousness. I believe that you probably are in desperate need of getting on your knees and just pounding your chest, crying out to heaven for mercy. We all do. But especially people who are talking about murdering babies so they can make money. If I had not had that abortion, I'm pretty sure there wouldn't have been a Fleetwood Mac. Pretty sure, again, she doesn't know. She doesn't have a magic crystal ball. She really says what there is, right here. There's just no way I could have had a child then, working as hard as we worked constantly. And there were a lot of drugs. I was doing a lot of drugs. I would have had to walk away. Wow, you're a reprobate. You are a degenerate reprobate. That is so sad, guys. That is so sad. What do you think about that? Speaking of sad, I got to tell this story. And we're going to go over a little bit in time. And I'm sorry, I've been told I got to be better about this. I was not. I got to be a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and do the banner screen so we can talk for a second. So, I recently had a situation, a couple of them. One of them with my son, and my son, Athanasius. Athanasius does not know how to swim. Okay? He doesn't know how to swim because he didn't have the luxury of really growing up with a pool or by a river. I grew up, we had a creek in our backyard. And then later we had a pool in our backyard. And then after that, we had a big lake in our backyard. So it always got bigger. Always got kind of bigger. And so I had that. So I was around water all the time. We were always doing things in the water. So I've known how to swim. I've loved swimming for a long time. But we've lived in areas where we didn't have a pool. We had a membership at the Y, but we really didn't go there for the pool as often as we did for lifting weights or doing different events and things, taekwondo. So it wasn't so much emphasized on that. Now, the other kids, Teresa knows how to a little bit. Ambrose has learned a little bit just by when they go, they want to go under the water. And so they've learned. They've asked me, how do you do this? Why doesn't water go up your nose? And we have those conversations. And Athen is always there. But the thing is Athen has been kind of skeptical about that. He can hear the assurances. Water's not going to go up your nose. You hold it, okay? And it creates this air seal. Otherwise, everybody be coming up choking, like puking up water constantly. Right? I mean, it's just what it would be. But he's nervous about it. He has certain fears about, like, the idea of, like, what's going to happen to me if I go under. And I remember I understand that. But we're at church, of all places, man. And I'm tired. Last week, man, I was up. I hardly got any sleep. I mean, I was still in that weird transitional phase from nighttime to morning. And I was getting, I'm not even kidding, like 4 or 5 hours of sleep max. It was not good. It's not healthy. I know it's actually really dangerous for me. And I've gotten better. I'm sleeping better, okay? But the thing is that I was super tired. And just, even in church, I'm kind of bobbing. And I don't do that. I love church, man. Church, I can't even remember the last time I ever got bored or tired in church. And so I'm sitting there and I'm outside and the sun's beating down. It's making me even more tired. My son comes up and he's going to this trip. He's going to a thing called Estovir. Okay, be a man. And it's for the boys in the school and in the church. And so you go, and they had a trip where you go on a canoe and you're on a river. And I told him, I said, look, man, I said, you got to make sure, I leaned down because he was really excited. And I said, you got to make sure that you tell Father Ron that you can't swim. And he looked at me and he kind of paused and he goes, well, he said, they have life jackets, Papa. And I said, yeah, I know, but I said, you don't know what could happen. And life jacket come off, you could, kind of wander away. And that would be bad. And somebody near us said, why is it that, what's the matter? Doesn't he know how to swim? And I said, no, he doesn't know how to swim. And they said, well, why doesn't he know how to swim? And I said, because he's a coward. That was one of the worst things that I ever said to my son. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't think that was going to make me cry. I knew in my mind what I wanted to say. It wasn't coward. I wanted to talk about, he's got like a phobia that he's afraid. But it came out. And my son turned and walked away real quick. And this lady, I'm watching him walk away, and this lady looks at me, dude, and you can tell, she's looking at me like cold as ice. She's like, you're a sucky dad. And my son turned around and looked at me, and he was starting to cry. And so I went up and I talked to him. And he's like, no, I'm not crying. And I saw his eyes, man. You could see it. And so I told him, I was like, hey, man, have a good time. I thought about him constantly after that. I just wanted to just hold him and say, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell him. And I did. He came home, and as soon as I heard the door, I said, I did the little, you said, hey, Allie, send Athanasius downstairs. And she did. And he came down, and he was happy. He'd probably forgotten. He wasn't thinking about it anyway. He was just really happy. And as soon as he came down, he came around this desk, and I just lunged, and I just embraced him. And I hugged him so hard, and I told him, how proud I am of him, how he's brave, how I remembered all of the things that we've been through and how he has stood strongly by my side. A valiant little warrior. We've been through terrible things. I remembered a video when his sister is dying in the house. And I remember it was at that place where she's in a coma and the breathing is real bad. It's like, you know, when somebody's winding down, it's ugly, man. It is not awesome to watch somebody in final stages of dying from cancer. It is really hard. Even the sounds. And I have a video where he came in and he kissed her on the forehead and sat next to her, holding her hand. That's not a coward. I've watched as he's fought and sparred in Taekwondo matches with people way beyond him. He's not a coward. I've seen him drive the hole playing basketball, unafraid of these massive redwood trees of people on the opposite team, unafraid. His bravery. He's just nervous. And I told him, I said, I am so sorry. I said, you just don't even know. And I wanted to tell you guys that. And again, I didn't think I was gonna cry. But I mean, it sucked, guys. Like, it was a terrible thing. And it's like one of those things where when it comes out of your mouth, it's like a ton of bricks. Like, it's just, everything stops and you just know that's not the word. And I wanted to say this because sometimes, you know, whether you're a parent or whether it's, you know, with coworkers or whatever, sometimes we find ourselves in positions where maybe we're tired. Maybe we're not. Maybe we chose the wrong word. Maybe that word selection is actually saying something about the way we feel about a particular thing. Maybe we're upset. But we have to be able to get to the place, not just where we go after people and tell people, you know, we think you're wrong about this or you're wrong about that or you need to change this or you need to change that. But that we can look at ourselves and say, dude, this was wrong. I messed up. And then not just to do that, but to try to reconcile that, to restore that. So if you've got kids, and I mean this, if you've got kids, you know, or even a parent or a friend, doesn't matter, man. But it, you know, because it's a kid story, you know, if you got kids and you say something like that, just know that not every time they walk away, not every time when they're crying walking away, will they turn around and look, and not every time will you be looking when they do. And so make sure, even today, focus this weekend, do it on the Lord's Day, man. Dedicate that day to the Lord and to your family. And just bond with them, hold them tight. And tell them you love them. And that you may be sorry for things that you may have said or done. It's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's awesome. All right. Now we're going to talk about memes. I'm sorry to go again from like super serious to super sad to funny to sad. I don't want to do it. And I'll save my other story because I have one more, and it's a little bit different. It has to do with bullying. It has to do with bullying and how to deal with that, because we've had to deal a little bit. Not our kids aren't the ones bullying. There is a bully. Okay, and we're kind of dealing with some of the things, and so we'll talk about that, right? And how the proper way to deal with it. And even kind of taking a little bit of responsibility, maybe as the parent, you know, because my kids watch the funny parts of my show. So they hear the stuff I say. And they're like, you know, they're good, man. They may not be fighters, but boy, they know how to use the tongue, right? They know how to talk. And so it ends up being really, really wicked bad. All right, we're going to go to memes, and then we're done. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm just warning you now. We're going a little bit over. So, okay, transition. Jonathan, I'm sorry if it goes over a little bit. To the athletes who think we are listening to them, if I wanted advice from someone who chases a ball, I would ask him a dog. Yeah. Okay, I got that in the email. Super happy about that. I don't belong in a tank. Just kidding. Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. I think that one, I think the first one, is that Blackfin? That movie? Trick or treat. What does he say? Well, hello. Who do we have here? Oh, yeah. And he's eating the ghost. Imagine like how much blood would actually be all over Pac-Man's lips. Lots of blood all over the lips. Let's see here. Harvard Law School, Yale Law School, Notre Dame Law School. You know, that it kind of depends. Maybe not everybody is at that level, but I get the joke. I get the joke. Oh, yeah. No one should be allowed to drive again until there are no fatal accidents for 14 consecutive days. Then we can slowly begin to phase it. Okay, so it's basically saying the same thing about COVID. I actually kind of agree with this logic. I know people who say, well, that's not a good comparison. And you go, actually, the way viruses travel and the way the accidents happen in similar ways, you know, maybe. There's at least enough there to kind of play. Why did somebody share this with me? Allie, did somebody share this? Because these kind of pictures really bother me a little bit. For one, that's not what Jesus looked like. Come on. I mean, he's kind of fat looking there, to be honest. He's a little fat. And what's he doing? He's peeing. You know, that's like, do they not understand that's kind of a Monty Python joke? So then this lady from a Novus Ordo church asks Father, where are the altar girls? Yeah, they are over at the Ordo church. They are over there. This is a joke. Traditional Catholics understand this. There was actually a conversation recently. I guess a kid at the school asked the priest, you know, because not everybody goes to Latin Mass at the school. And they were like, hey, you know, where are the ladies? You know, where are the altar girls? And the priest was very tactful, you know, talked about, you know, well, if a priest is at a convent or something and the nuns are there. He didn't say anything beyond that because it's like, no, we don't play that game. Yeah, we don't have girl altar boys. Sorry about that. Billy, what have you done? Jesus was a socialist. Deus vult, Billy. Okay, yeah. Oh, dude, that's so terrible. But it's also, yeah, I got you. When a leftist has their views challenged. Okay, so they're working like super hard, and they're getting ready like, yeah, I'm going to school. I'm learning all this stuff. I'm gonna be able to have a good awareness of what I believe and what I don't believe and why and everything else. And then they hear something and they go, you're a racist. And that's it. That's the end of that. I missed this, by the way, October 13th. I apologize to all the sailors out there. Salute you. Thank you, of course. To all my veteran buddies. Thank you for the service to our great nation. But the birthday for the U.S. Navy is October 13th. Not a cell phone in sight. Just people living in the moment. Absolutely beautiful. Wish we could go back. Tar and feathering. It's true, dude. Like, you know, people treat it like it was just, you know, because of cell phones, you know, it's gotten so bad. And I'm one of those. I'm a harsh critic. But I also understand that back then it wasn't like there weren't, you know, outrage mobs, for example. Oh, come on. I hope this is the face you have whenever you're listening to the show. I mean it, man. This is my daughter, Samantha. And that's her when she was a little baby on the right. And that's her. That's actually her birthday, only a couple months before she passed away. Yeah, but that was her face, and they called it Sammy face because she was always just so happy. I mean, you can see that smile's massive. Yeah, she was always a joyous, joyous girl. What happens when you leave your kids for a few seconds? Kissing pigs? Yeah, okay. My kids in 2040. The world's gonna end. Why aren't you panicking? Me. I've seen this before. 11 times. As a matter of fact. What's this? All the planets aligned into one. Dude, I feel this, man. I feel this because most flat earth people, don't they actually believe that the other planets are in fact spheres? I mean, it would be kind of weird. That'd be very strange. Oh, that's got the F word in it, but it makes sense. F slavery. And it's got weed, McDonald's. So it has soy milk. He's in his diet pop, his aspartame. He's like, yes, I might be eating all of the terrible food, a lot of it left on my breasts, but at the same time, I'm drinking the soy milk. Yeah, man. He's got the commie stuff. He's got the weed, the Pornhub. These people are insane, by the way. Ones who do this. This picture here. Trump winding up the militia. Kill blacks, kill Jews, kill immigrants, kill protesters. What weird dystopian things happening in your brain? And don't you see all the MAGA people and the Proud Boys getting killed in the streets? These are the people that and cry for good reason when a protester drives in to a crowd with a car and a girl dies. Everybody freaks when it happens to a Proud Boy. He had what was coming. Or it happens to a MAGA person. He had what was coming. Maybe he shouldn't have been a fascist. Freaking weirdos, dude. Freakazoids. We're talking about it next week. This is my son Ambrose. I need to make the shirts like that. Keep on smiling. We got to make shirts similar to that for the show. We're gonna make Never Give Up shirts, Keep on Smiling shirts, and Memento Mori shirts. We have to have it. We have to have it. This is just wrong. Clown ministry? I don't mean to bust on anybody, man, but are you into clown ministry? Are you into that? Oh. Build the rail. Okay, Catholics understand that. That's a good one. All right. Anyone want to do a couple more of these? Then we're gonna wind down here. Because as I said, I'm going over and I apologize. My new favorite Photoshop genre, horror screams, but with steaming hot pizza. Okay. By the way, have you seen that movie? It's a brilliantly made movie. It is also pretty diabolical. It's so diabolical that even the guy who wrote it admitted that things were getting pretty deep and he had to stop, And so that kind of stuff was really going on. If you want to share any of your memes with us or any stories, of course, Paleocrat Diaries at gmail.com. Whole bunch of fun. The last here. We're going to go through the last comments. Let's see here. And then we'll be done. What kind of defective tweets have wicked communications? That's what email is for. Okay. I just don't need celebrities telling me how to think or feel. Isn't that true, guys? Don't you feel that way? You totally agree? In the comments, one person said, my cousin passed away in a Detroit nursing home, first month in. For one, condolences. I'm sincerely sorry for that loss. I mean that, by the way. But this is bad. I want to find out if Steven Crowder, if they've gotten more information, because the information we've had about the losses, the death in our state, have had to do with, are derived from a very small sample of information. I think it's like 10%. James Marone, the Boogaloo. Yeah, the Boogaloo Boys. That's a real thing. And that's a conflicted group, by the way. You'll have a lot of those guys go to Black Lives Matter rallies. They'll be at Antifa protests. Christine McVie has the better voice. Not sure. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. And Stevie's a Wiccan. Yeah, talking about Fleetwood Mac. Stevie Nicks. Yeah, that's... Pray for her, by the way. I'm not even kidding. She's obviously a degenerate who this late into the game is probably just covering up shame with things that help her to cope. Maybe have replaced the drugs that she was on. One person says, to be honest, a lot of artists wouldn't be good if they weren't druggies. Sadly, I also agree a little bit with that. I understand. We'll talk about drugs sometime. We'll talk about that. That'll be an interesting discussion. To talk about different views of drugs, and what should be done with drugs and things like that. And if drugs are in fact a food, and in a way that talks about like what's the difference between cereal and soup. If it's and it's a serious question, by the way. Legal theorists actually will debate this, not about cereal and soup, but they'll use that as an example. But there's at the end of the album, Tool, is it the Enema album? At the end, there's kind of a secret song, if I'm remembering correctly, the right one. There's a secret song, and it's got a guy talking, and he's like, if you're against these drugs, go back and find the tapes and the records and the albums of all your favorite musicians and all your favorite singers and all your favorite artists and burn them, because all those people were really high on drugs. And that's just true. I mean, so people have to understand that. And look at Aerosmith is a great example. Aerosmith stops doing drugs, and Aerosmith starts making music that sucks. Their music got bad. I'm sorry to say that. Yeah. One person says, you are not a sucky dad. You're a dad who had a crappy moment. Dude, thank you, by the way. You just don't even know. You just don't even know, man. That's my heart broke because I love him. Anybody who knows me, dude, knows I'm like radical about family. I love my family. And we are Team Tiny Dancer forever. Team Tiny Dancer forever. And if you want to know more about Team Tiny Dancer, I have an entire playlist of what that means, because of what we went through with cancer, the way that our family has come together forever, man. This is no joke. You go through that at that level as a family, and you make it through, and now you're in church. You found your God drew you in. Dude, that's life-changing, man, on multiple levels. But you got to be warned, if you go to that Team Tiny Dancer playlist, it's a hashtag. If you go to that playlist right now on YouTube and you start going through those, be warned right now, there are many of them that will make you cry. You will be weeping your eyes out. Every parent makes mistakes, says things we don't mean. This is when we ask our children to forgive us. It's how we show them we aren't perfect and that we all must ask for forgiveness. Dude, totally true. Yeah. Said, to be fair, we don't know 100% what he looked like for sure. I'm not entirely sure. I should have seen that in real time. Clown ministry. We found their church. All right, everybody. I'm really grateful. Thank you, by the way, Bethany, for that final one. Yeah, I'm really grateful to all of you. I am really grateful to all of you. And of course, I want to thank you for watching. Make sure to be back next week, next Monday through Friday. And over the weekend, I'll post some stuff too. I'll post some stuff from Paleo Cheese, a new episode of that. I'll begin posting even a few of the older videos that we did here, as well as some of the older videos with tables of content. Okay, so you'll be able to go and click to go directly to different stories and to share those exact stories with your friends, because you may want to say, look, I like that specific article, or I thought that was a funny segment, or this was an emotional moment, and I want to share that, but I don't know how. We make it easy. You just have to copy the hyperlink. So you just put your cursor over it, do the right click, and then just put, copy URL. Okay. And you'll be able to do that. And then you can share it with all your friends and everything else. And we're going to be doing that. And I'm also putting together over the weekend, we're going to work on the latency issues and other things to really trim up and maybe even come out guns a-blazing, pedal to the metal right out of the gate on Monday with some really cool new stuff, including ideas and plans, in fact, to set your calendar, to set the date so that we would be able to do the members-only live stream that would include video games, okay, where I'm playing video games and sitting down talking. It'd be more casual, laid back, having a fun time. And so you can find out more about that, paleocratdiaries.com. Become a member. It's $5 a month. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I'm grateful for every single thing that you send us, which helps us to send our children to an amazing private school called Sacred Heart Academy in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'll even post a video today about that. I'll post a promotional video so you can see what kind of academic expectations, what kind of religious culture that we have, church culture, a culture of the word and of the liturgy and of the sacrament. And even the way that they present themselves, the professionalism and the discipline and expectations. I'll share that at paleocratdiaries.com. I'm grateful, guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for laughing with me. And thank you for even crying with me and yelling with me and beating your head against the wall and doing all of that and lighting your hair on fire and guzzling coffee and all of that. Thank you. I appreciate it. And in that spirit, I salute you, saying never give up. Keep on smiling and memento mori. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off.
The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge and maybe a funeral procession.